Oh, is that showing up in the chat? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. It's going forward. Okay. So that was an overview of what to expect as an individual petitioner. That you'll be out collecting signatures on your form, some common responses that you'll hear from people when you approach them, some ways to break the ice when you approach them, and just kind of an overview of what sort of supplies you might need and answers you could give them. A lot of campaigns probably need not just individuals that are collecting signatures, but also coordinators, people that are making sure that all the individuals have all the things that they need in order to be successful. So our last little bit of this presentation here is about being a coordinator. If you have the time to volunteer to be a coordinator, this is a good way to help the campaign and the party make sure that it reaches its goals. So we'll talk about, petitioning goals. We'll talk about coordinating stuff, and how to manage volunteers and track volunteers and petitions. So the first is to know your petitioning goals. So like we said at the very beginning of this, every state, 50 states plus DC, has its own set of rules. So you'll want to make sure that you know what the goals are, what the minimum number of signatures are, and you can actually do some calculations that if you're going door to door, for example, or if it's a kind of a low volume flow, you can calculate that the average person will collect around 10 signatures per hour if they're in kind of that low volume or door to door. If you're in more of a high volume spot and you've got your 2 clipboards and you're getting people at all, you can expect more like 20, 25 signatures per hour per person, right? So you can use this to kind of estimate how many volunteers do we need and how many volunteer hours do we need in order to reach our minimum goal. So you'll want to set that. You'll want to set how many volunteers we need, how many hours do we need to be out petitioning, roughly speaking, to reach our minimum. And then, look at your time frame, however much time you have that, and try to figure out how many signatures per week do we need to get to stay on target and reach it. And that's a good way to keep track of volunteers, because then you'll know something like, we need 10 volunteers per week from now until July or whatever it is, right? And then you can call people, you can text people, you can follow up with past volunteers with the Green Party, and ask them if they're willing to put in an hour or two and build up to reach those goals. So I give an example of where we're at in Pennsylvania. Our statewide candidate needs about 5,000 signatures, which is more than some states, but also a lot less than some others. New York in particular, I have to say good luck to you, Harry, because New York is facing 45,000 signatures in a few weeks. It's a really tall order. It used to not be that bad, but it's a lot worse this year because the Democratic governor made the requirements tripled.
Yep.
So, it takes a lot of coordinating for sure. So if you want to be a coordinator, if you want to help with the Hawkins campaign in New York, if you're there, I'm sure they need not just volunteers, but coordinators. But whatever state you're in, this is a good role to be in, somebody who is willing to contact the volunteers and get them signed up to collect signatures for an hour or two a week or whatever it is to make sure that you're reaching your goal.